He was a Zen master, and he had a gathering of his students before him, and he said to his students, "I have a question for you." He said, "There are two men walking along the road when it starts to rain. Why does the rain not fall on one man?" And each of the students answered in their own way. One said, "Oh, well, one of the men was walking under the eaves," and another one said, "Oh, he was carrying an umbrella." And the master said, "You misunderstand my question. My question is asked from a sublime level of consciousness, and you're answering my question at the mundane level of consciousness. Change your perception. My question is, why does the rain not fall on one man?" Then someone asked Mulla Nasrudin the question, "Mulla Nasrudin, why did you never get married?" And the mullah said, "Well, it was because I was looking for the perfect woman. And I found one woman, and she was very beautiful, but she was very worldly, so she was not for me. And then I found another woman who was highly spiritual and beautiful, but she had no practical knowledge at all. She couldn't cook or wash, so she was not for me. And then I found the perfect woman, perfect in every way. She was beautiful, she was practical, and she was spiritual." So the person asked, "Well, Mullah, why didn't you marry her?" "Oh," said the mullah, "I found out she was looking for the perfect man." Let me remind you that little story about the cowherd. And every day this young boy would take his cows out into the meadow, and then at night time he would bring them in to the safety of the barn, where he would tie them up. But on one occasion he found that one of the cows had lost its rope. So he was in quite a dilemma, because he was fearful that in the night the cow would stray, and it was too late for him to go to the village to find another rope. But there was a wise man who lived just down the road from the farm, so he decided to consult the wise man. So he went to the wise man. The wise man said, "Well, go back, and while the cow is watching, pretend to tie her up." So this is what the boy did. He went back to the barn and he pretended to tie the cow, as he'd done with all the others who had the ropes. And the next morning when he came back, he found that she hadn't moved at all. She'd stayed in place all night. So he untied all the cows and was leading them out of the barn, and found that the one cow who had no rope was still standing there, and she wouldn't come out of the barn. So he didn't know what to do. So he went back to the wise man. The wise man said, "Well, go back and pretend to untie her." And so this is exactly what he did. And as soon as he untied her from the pretending rope, she happily trotted out after the other cows. So when we put these three little stories together, could they bring up some questions in this? And they've been told because over these last days there have been some interesting encounters of all kinds on the emails and on the telephone and directly. And I would sum them up by saying they were mostly about yes, buts. But what have these three little stories got to do about yes, buts, would you imagine? First of all, what is it that binds our minds to the mundane level of cause and effect? What is perfection to us? And what is the invisible rope that's binding us to that mundane level of mind?
Habit, isn't it?
Yes. Habit. In a word, as simple as that, isn't it? Habit. So how do we live in that state where every question that's asked and every answer that's given is coming from that sublime level? How do we maintain ourselves in that state of Satchitananda, existence, knowledge and bliss? And its answer, we can only answer that when we answer these other two questions. Where is our mind relative to this judgment of, in ourselves and in others, of perfection? Not good enough, not good enough. What? And then we can really get down to the nitty-gritty of it and ask ourselves, what is this invisible rope that's chaining me to that? And unless we address that, and over these last days, really that's what it's been about. What is this invisible rope that's keeping our mind on that level? It's as simple as not allowing ourselves to get angry. Because we think, in somewhere back down there, we learned that we should get angry. Habit. What is your habit? What's the invisible chain that's chaining you?
We're often either trying to be perfect for somebody else.
Yes.
Or expecting them to be perfect for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember in France, I was telling the master at the time, the coach speaker, and I said, look, I'm looking for the perfect man. And he said like that because he was very cheeky, of course. He said, well, is it to hide your own imperfection? Straight. Or not to see that all this projection and all this game we're playing, and this meditation we have through what we believe.
Yes.
And what a job. Which is not a job, it's the contrary of a job. We have to let go of all these conditions.
Yes. Yes. But we can look at us. We've walked the spiritual path. Everyone I've spoken to over these last days has walked the spiritual path. The spiritual path, recognizing that we're dismantling, tearing off, peeling off conditions, but we're still bound by habit. We're still reacting in that way to whatever it is that's like this first story. Coming from that reactionary, mundane level of life. What's stopping us from living in that state? Only that, only this. And it's as simple as it is in this story to shift our perception, and it happens instantly because all of us immediately saw the difference in this story. Why does the rain not fall on one man? Isn't it so? Immediately we were able to bring it to that level of perception where it became obviously, and no answer was needed because it was totally understood. Isn't that so for us? So what is it? This invisible chain, this invisible rope that keeps us bound when we've already done our homework, we've walked the path. This is what's getting up my nose over the last few days, I can tell you.
Untie the rope.
Untie the rope.
Untie the rope.
Well, of course, the end of this story is that that's the Guru's job. The Guru's job is to untether the invisible rope that you think that you have. But you know, there's no need to end this story in this way here, because you've walked the walk. So what is it? What is it? Yes, but.
Because it's just do it.
Just do it. But there's no need to do it because it's already done.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that
Just
so?
It's just like you just do it. That's because that's all there is to do.
That's all there is to do.
Just
Just no question. Just
No question, one moment.
No.
but.
Yes, but. Yes, but we can catch ourselves.